Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a brand new episode of my weekly gaming playlist series. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week. We've made it to Friday, so it's time for me to do a recap and talk about the games I played this week. Would love to hear your thoughts, so if you played any of the games I shared today, let me know your thoughts on them. I'm always interested in hearing about the games you guys are playing, as that gives me ideas of new games to play and experience, and I'm always looking for recommendations on a game you think I might enjoy. Please let me know if you guys have a game you think I might enjoy playing, as I'm always looking for new ones to play and experience. I'm continuing my journey with this title that I started playing last week, and that is Alan Wake 2. This is the Deluxe Edition. Now, I've been a huge fan of Alan Wake ever since I played the original one back on the Xbox 360. Loved that game, beat it multiple times. I even beat the remastered version that was released for the Xbox One multiple times. I beat Alan Wake American Nightmare. Really loved it. And I was super excited when I heard that there was an Alan Wake 2 coming out. But when it originally launched, it was digital only, no physical copy. So I was a little disappointed. And I decided, I wasn't going to play the game unless they released a physical version, which they did a year later due to demand from fans of the series. They released a physical version. Now what's cool is the physical versions are actually the deluxe edition, which contains all the DLC as well as the cosmetic skins. So that's something that's really awesome. I've been having a lot of fun playing Alan Wake 2. It's a really good and very enjoyable experience. I definitely like the game more than the original Alan Wake, as Alan Wake was a action horror title, where this is a survival horror title. It's a little bit slower pace, but it's a bigger, grander game, much larger story that's involved, a lot more aspects to it. You actually play as two characters. You play as an FBI agent named Saga Anderson, and you also play as Alan Wake, and she's in the real world, and Alan is in the dark place. So if you guys have played the original Alan Wake 1, it ends with Alan being stuck in the dark place, and this game is about him trying to escape from it, and Saga helping him, and the town of Bright Falls, and just overall a really enjoyable experience. I don't want to go into any more detail with the story because it's really important to play the game to experience the story, as this is a really heavily focused story game. But really enjoyable. It looks amazing on my 4K TV on my Xbox Series X. Just a really overall good experience. I'm very close to beating the game. I've got over 27 hours into it, and I am having a blast with it. I'll read you guys from the back. Blazes trails in video game storytelling. Saga Anderson, an accomplished FBI agent, arrives to investigate a string of ritualistic murders in a small town community. Alan Wake, a lost writer, pens a dark story to shape the reality around him. These two heroes and two separate realities are somehow connected. Can they break out to be the heroes they need to be? It's a really awesome game, so let's take a look at Alan Wake 2. Hey guys, we're back with some more Alan Wake 2. Been having an absolute blast playing through this game the past 2 weeks. Been a very enjoyable experience. This has been high on my want to playlist this year, and I'm glad that I finally have a physical copy in my collection. If you do get the physical collection, it is the deluxe edition of the game, which comes with all the DLC. So you get the two wonderful expansions, Night Springs and the Lake House. I look forward to playing through those because you get to play as different characters, so that's something that's cool. You also get the cosmetic DLC for both Saga Anderson and Alan Wake, so you can adjust both of their attire as well as skins for their weapons. You also get a few bonus in-game items as well, which is cool. So you get to play as two different characters in the game. You get to play Saga Anderson, who is an FBI agent, and he also plays Alan Wake, who's a writer. So I like the idea of playing as two protagonists because their stories intertwine with each other, interact, and they both have two different abilities. They also have two different perspectives, so you get to see the story from two different perspectives, which I think is really awesome. So let's get into the game here. There's a lot of great options too. I do love how a lot of these modern games are getting more and more options for you to tweak, so you can adjust the game to your own liking. They even have been starting to incorporate for newer players, like make your character invulnerable, kill enemies with one shot, have infinite ammo, all kinds of cool stuff. So if somebody is not as skilled playing these kind of games, they could turn these on if they need that. I think that's a great option. Not something I would use, but it's great to have there. And so you got a huge variety of options for you to adjust. So let's start here. I'm going to load my latest save, which is where I'm playing as Alan Wake. But I also load an older save and show you Saga Anderson. Once you get to a certain part in the story, you can actually switch between the two characters, which is awesome. So you can play through either side of the story, like do one of their chapters, and then you can switch it to another chapter, or you could play one of the characters all the way through to their end, and then play as the other character. I've been kind of back and forth between the two, doing one section, then jumping to the next. Game has amazing graphics, and it plays a lot and reminds me a lot of like the Resident Evil 2 and 3, the remakes that we've received. That's how it feels, like the control scheme and stuff. It's a little different than the original Alan Wake. You also have an inventory system similar to Resident Evil, where you have so much inventory space and certain weapons take up more space than others. And as you play through the game, you adjust and you can increase your inventory slots. As you can see, there's those X's below, so I still need to find another inventory upgrade so I can get 20 slots available for him. Saga can have 25. And then this also keeps track of the different items you have that are for the game, keeping track of like story-related items in that section, so it doesn't count against your gear that you can have, which I think is great. Now, when you want to pause the game, you need to actually pause it like this. This is where the game's paused, because there is a cool aspect to this game. Alan has his writer's room, which just keeps track of like your collectibles and stuff that you find. Like there's television things for you to watch, they're kept track of here. Radios for you to find with songs that you unlock as you play through the game. You can come here and listen to them. This is where you have your map, so this keeps track of the maps that you found. And you see every area you start, you don't have the map. You actually have to find them. So it's similar to like playing the Silent Hill games, even the Resident Evils. You got to find the map, because this is a survival horror game, where Alan Wake 1 was an action horror game. This is survival horror, so it's a little bit slower paced. There's not non-stop combat like Alan Wake 1 had. I actually played the game for almost 3 hours before I even encountered my first enemy. So it is a little bit slower in that way, but I really have been enjoying the game, and it's real heavy story focused. You have a plot board that he has, and then you also have these words of power. So these are collectibles that you can find to level up and upgrade Alan Wake. Like I was able to upgrade him with 50% more health, which has become very helpful. Now these are not required for the game, but they're highly recommend you go after them because it'll help make the game easier. And to much know, once you're in that writer's room, when you're in her mind place, you are not, the game is not paused. So it's in the real, going on. So he would be standing right here. If there's enemies attacking me and I go into that writer's room, I will get attacked and killed. So just be aware of that you're not paused. You want to make sure you're in a safe area. Really love the graphics too, though. Game looks amazing. Alan here is in the dark place, which is right now New York City in the dark place. And I think it looks amazing what they've done. Graphics, the cars look realistic, the ground, the rain, the giant buildings and stuff. It's just really awesome to see how far graphics have come in the past 15, 20 years here, especially like when the original Alan Wake came out 15 years ago. Definitely would not have been able to pull this off on the Xbox 360, so it's really cool how much we've advanced with it, and the game looks beautiful. On my Series X here, playing on my 4K TV. Had a buddy left a comment on my last episode of this series, and he said that game looks amazing on the PlayStation 5 Pro, so that's really cool to hear. So I'm going to pause it for a moment, guys, and get into combat so you guys can see what the combat is like for Alan. Alright, now we enter the area where there's the shadow people. So in Alan's world here, he sees all these shadow people. Now some of them are like this one here, where they're harmless, but some of them are taken, which can attack you. Now here's another thing too. Alan has this magic lamp with it, which he can take light from areas, and he can change the scene. Oop. Just gotta get to where it'll let me adjust it, and it'll actually change the area. See, it'll change now. That ladder's gone, and now it created a little safe haven here. So just like in Alan Wake 1, you do have light sources which you can go to heal a little bit, and to get out away from enemies to a safe area.
Wake.
And just like Alan Wake 1, the enemies are protected by a dark shadow around them, so you have to burn it away with light before they're vulnerable. And unlike in Alan Wake 1, your flashlight doesn't recharge. You only have so many battery uses, and then you have to change out the battery. So it's a little different change from the original Alan Wake.
The flashlight had done its job.
And these enemies can be tough at times too. Try not to get surrounded by them if you can help it. So you can see in combat can get intense at times, and look at just a few hits from those characters. I'm already down to my lowest bar of health there. If I got hit too many more times, I would be dead. So the difficulty for the combat has really been ramped up compared to Alan Wake 1, and I'm just on the normal difficulty. So I just wanted you guys to give a little look at what it's like to play as Alan Wake. Give me a moment to pause, and we'll load up Saga Anderson so you can see what it's like playing as her. Alright, now I'll show you guys playing as Saga Anderson. I'm in one of the save rooms. This is where you can save in the game. The game does have a couple auto-save slots, but it does not save as often as you think it would. So you want to make sure that you come to these save spots and save as often as you can. Now, just like Alan, she has a place that she goes to, which is called the Mind Place. So you have her map here. You have a case board, which is different. She actually is working on solving stuff for this cases, so you can go in here and working on solving the story. So you're putting clues down where they go to help you with the story.
Is Witch's Ladle the doorway into the overlap? If so, that's where I'll find Nightingale. Light is the key. To stay safe. But for something more to be revealed as well.
She also can upgrade her weapons by finding collectible lunchboxes which have manuscript fragments in it. And like you can increase the bullets here, so I'm going to do that for my pistol.
Saga had lost count of how many shots she'd fired, but she was sure it must have been more than she had in her magazine. And yet, she'd not run out of ammo. As if the magazine had grown to fit more bullets. She fired again.
So I highly recommend getting the extra collectibles so you can get upgrades. She also has television so you can watch different commercials. There's some real hilarious ones here which I recommend going. I won't play it all the way, but do recommend it. Really funny. Radio here, we find radio show stuff to listen to as well as music as you play through the game. She has a profiling where she's able to profile people and help you with continuing the story. So I'll give you guys a little example of that.
Cauldron Lake. Why?
This was built to hide what's there. They say the writer found the lake.
Private party. No trespassing.
My book has questions. Past the bolt cutters.
They broke in for the sake of Tammy's book. Nothing to do with a murder. They were telling the truth.
So I think that's a pretty cool little feature there. Manuscript pages you find, just like in the original Alan Wake, are here. And then back to the case board and stuff. Be aware though, when you're in her mind place, just like with Alan, the game's not paused, so you can be attacked. You want to make sure you do it in a safe area. And I do recommend look around for things that you can interact with, because you can find collectibles and they are randomized.
Making progress.
The image of the witch in the sign. Saga addressed the witch. The smudged line on the heart. The second part recited from memory. I brought you the heart, witch. Show me the terror. Saga pushed the heart through the hole in the sign.
And now we're going to go fight an enemy here. The first Taken that you actually get in the game. And they're different than the Taken that you fight in Alan's world. They don't disappear like they did in the first Alan Wake game. Let's reload. As well as real quick get healed up a little bit here. There we go. And they do take a lot of ammo at the beginning to take down at times, so you want to go for headshots. You saw there was a little glowy part on his chest, and that is where he's vulnerable at. Sometimes it's on the front, sometimes it's in the back. If you can hit that, you do real high damage to them. And as you play through the game, you'll actually discover more weapons, and you also get collectibles and stuff. So I recommend don't just rush through the game. You know, take your time, look for things that are around, things for you to interact with, coolers, things to open up, because you never know what you'll find. And I love going through, because sometimes you'll find the precious ammo and stuff. And right here, there's a little inventory increase. So I just went, at this part of the game, I went from having just 10 slots to 15. So very awesome. Glad to have that. A very awesome feature in the game, you know, increase it. So I recommend doing that. As well as, like I said, in those save rooms, you're able to swap out in your little storage box where you can put items. If you have too much of something and you start being encumbered and don't have enough inventory space for other stuff you find, you want to make sure you utilize that. But whenever you go to any safe room, you can access that. So I put all my extra health, batteries, ammo, and stuff. If I don't need them currently, I'll put them in there and then access them when I need them. But I've been having a lot of fun with this game. It's awesome story, great voice acting, amazing graphics. If you guys really enjoyed the first Alan Wake, highly recommend you play this one. I just suggest you play the Alan Wake 1 first so that you know what's going on in the story. Because if you just play this one, you're really not going to know what the hell's going on since you didn't play the original one. But definitely you guys should check this game out. It is awesome. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that look at Alan Wake 2. Been having a lot of fun with it. Just have a little bit longer here, and I'm going to be beating the game. Now, what's cool, too, is that post-launch, they actually added a New Game Plus mode, which actually creates a new ending for the game and new things for you to go through. So that's really awesome. I do want to go through the DLC as well. So I should definitely have this game beat within the next day or two. Really having a lot of fun with it. It's definitely an enjoyable experience. Highly recommend it if you guys are fans of the original Alan Wake. Pick up Alan Wake 2. I would not recommend playing this one unless you beat the first one, because it is a direct sequel and continuation of the story from Alan Wake 1. There's characters from Alan Wake 1 that are in this game, and it won't make sense unless you play the original game first, which I highly recommend play that one through, then play this one. But it was a really, really enjoyable experience. Had a lot of fun with it. Highly recommend it. This game did recently get a price drop for physical. Went from being $80 down to $60 brand new for a copy. Of course, you can get them used if you can find them. It did have kind of a smaller print run, so it might be a little bit more difficult to find, but I do recommend getting a copy of this. You can also obviously get it digitally, and there's always sales for the digital versions. But it's a very enjoyable experience. Been having a lot of fun with Alan Wake 2, and I definitely plan to beat this game on the New Game Plus mode, as well as in the future beat it on that Nightmare difficulty, because it's not an easy game. Even playing on normal, I've died several times, as it doesn't take a whole lot of hits from the enemies to kill you. There's really cool boss battles. You have to, really think outside the box sometimes on how to defeat enemies, and just really a very enjoyable experience, and the story was phenomenal. Highly recommend Alan Wake 2. Let me know your guys' thoughts, though. Have you guys played Alan Wake 2? Always interested in hearing about the games you guys have been playing lately. And if you guys have a recommendation on a game you think I might enjoy, let me know, as I'm always looking for a new game to play. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you next time.